the one thing I want us to understand is that a lot of this stuff is going to continue to happen, man. It's going to continue to happen, first of all, until we stop it. What's Newton's law? The thing that changes an action is a what? An opposite and equal reaction. An opposite and equal reaction. That's the only thing that changes something from going in one direction to another, whether it be a thought, whether it be a feeling, or whether it be an action. Whether it be an actual physical act. And so if someone murders your brother and you go and slap him in the face, no, that's not an equal and opposite reaction. And so we have so many people that are really subconsciously afraid, who won't admit it, may not even be aware of it, but won't do anything. I remember I seen this experiment where they were showing how people have a subconscious submission or subconscious, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like inferiority or something. It's like you have an automatic subconscious obedience to authority. Anything that you would label in authority can control you, and even when you have been told to do something that you shouldn't do, you have been told to do something wrong. It's on YouTube. Just kind of look it up if you don't believe what I'm saying. But there's an experiment, and it's called the something experiment. I can't recall the actual name, but it's an experiment where it shows how people would do something, even though it's wrong, simply because an authority figure told them to. And I say this to say what? I say that to say that, a lot of times we don't move. We don't do something. We won't allow what we see and cause us to act, because there's a subconscious program that keeps you locked in and blocked out. You see, man, these type of conversations are very weighty. These type of conversations really are compounded with one issue after another. And this is why when you talk about this, there's so many areas that need to be addressed. And it's hard to really try to address them all, keep it simple and short. But without making this a long drawn out thing, man, again, black people, brown people, white people, if you fed up and you tired of seeing what's going on, what's happening to black and brown people, listen. Of course, there's different modes of war. There's different, levels to it, right? And everybody has a position. But we need to be actively doing something against things that are wrong. And if someone's life is on the line, there's only one reaction. Ain't no just recording. One person can record, two people can record, but everybody else now need to move something, especially the men. The women can do the record, but the men need to act out. And the thing is that a lot of times we don't do certain things because of the sacrifice that's involved with the choice that you have to make. A lot of us value material things, jobs, position, sometimes even freedom in life more than you value your when I say freedom, I mean your physical freedom. You value those things more than you actually value, the significance of being, I'm saying, actually free of walking around in fear. Walking around hesitant, walking around looking, black people live on a whole nother level of consciousness when we out and about. We move looking out for black people as well as anybody else. We got to break past that, man. We got to break past that. We got to do something about it. We got to start acting out. We can't just keep watching people and recording videos while people getting abused and beat down, and whether it be by police or an individual. Because that's the other aspect of this conversation. You see, there's a lot of work we still have to do amongst us. Am I saying that justifies the police to do anything to us, or that justifies anybody else to do anything to us? No, I'm not saying that. And a lot of y'all are so defensive. That's what you want. That's what you want it to be said, because that justifies your emotional response. This is about being intellectual and holding oneself accountable. We have to hold ourselves to the same level and regard that we want others to hold us to. That's what we got to start doing. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that, man. We're not doing that. Again, it does not justify, no matter what, if a person commit whatever crime, there's a system in place to hold that person accountable. There's a system in place to hold that person accountable. But if we all finna get renegade out here, then let's get renegade. Let's get renegade. I know where I stand. I know where I stand. And I know a lot know where I stand. So the day that I'm faced with a position or a choice like that, that's gonna be the day that either it's time for me to die or whatever else the result gonna be, because I'm definitely gonna act. I'm gonna act. I'm not gonna just sit there and record and say, man, get up off of him. What are you doing? I'm not, look, man, all that conversation, no. You can't rationalize with a fool. You better learn, you can't rationalize with a fool. That's Proverbs. I ain't talking about the Bible Proverbs. Yeah, so yeah, we just need to do something different, man. You're marching and letting everybody know what's going on and protesting. That's good, because sometimes when you don't do that, the world won't know, what you upset about or what done happened. So, that's cool. That's cool. That's one. That's a group that does that. But I'm saying, like, when the shit jump off, we need to already have a different mindset. We need to respond a different type of way when shit like that jump off. Period. You see, that's the only thing. That's that opposite and equal reaction. That's the only thing that's going to create a different type of thinking, a different type of reaction from them when they see us, when they approach us. You see, right now they approach us with no fear. They don't even have fear of God. They feel justified in doing whatever they do. You see, but when they know that there's a response going to come from it, not no yipping and yelling and sharing and even they don't give a damn about riding. Honestly, we done that shit forever too. They don't give a damn about that shit, because you think about it, the stuff that's get towed up it's not theirs. It don't affect their life personally. You see, but when we make it personal, when whoever, and pardon my language, but I'm just for the speaking how I feel it. But when whoever fuck up, that's what, like back in the day when we were young, when you show out is where you get wore out. Whoever show out, right then and there, that's where they get their ass wore out. That's where it jump off at. And we gotta start having that mindset. We gotta stop. Here's another thing I want: emotional intelligence. We have to stop. If we're not in a position, man, to be dealing with the enemy like in opposition, I mean, just roll with it. Just take the battle to another ground. Record what's going on. Do whatever the enemy say do. And I'm gonna say enemy because that's what I'm referring to. I'm not just talking about police in general, but I'm talking about the ones that are enemies. Just do whatever he say do, and record, get your information, and we'll fight that kind of battle later. You can't take every battle, every war to battle right then and there, because you might not be on the right terrain. So you might be at a disadvantage. And you see, war, there's strategy. There's intelligence involved with war. And we got to just get beyond that, man. And that's why I say this conversation is so deep, because it goes all into our upbringing. It goes all into our environment and our culture. It goes all into, the things that we find enjoyment and entertainment with. All those things affect the way we respond to shit like this. All those things. Man, I can name so many different things on my mind right now, but I don't want nobody to feel like I'm picking on them. But man, honestly, I'm just at this place. I mean, I've been there. I want to say I've been living that same lifestyle in the streets, clubbing every night, high on everything, drank up, all this. I done all that. But I've always been serious though about life. That was just the way I grew up in it. But today, nah, man, I on every, people say on everything I love. No, see, a lot of stuff you love, a lot of stuff you stand on that you say you love is bullshit. You throw that shit away. You barter it off every day, and you do every day. So you don't love it like you claim you do. But when you really start standing on stuff that you're willing to die for, then you move different. You interact with people differently, and you let people interact with you differently. Why? Because everything you stand on means too much for bullshit. Everything you stand on means way too much for bullshit. But I'm gonna end this right here, man. But you know, my whole point making this is that, man, we have to shift the way we think. We have to shift the way we operate on a daily basis. We have to shift the way we party. I'm saying we can go out and have a good time, this, that, and that, but our mind frame needs to always be vigilant, needs to always be aware, needs to always be alert. We get too comfortable, too complacent. It's a conversation we done had before, though. That's why I'm not the type to just regurgitate. You know, I don't like saying stuff over and over and over, especially if I know you're not listening. That's just not me. You know, we love celebrating when black people do respond how we supposed to respond to that shit. We'll celebrate the shit out of that, but we ain't gonna follow suit. We don't love it enough to become an example of it. We'll become example of celebrities and dancers and jokesters and pimp pushers and prostitutes, and we'll become examples of all that shit. But when it comes to that revolutionary, it costs too much. It's gonna cost too much. Remember this, man. Some last word. Remember this. On the other side of every decision you have to make in life, on every decision you have to make in life, from the most minor, from the most minute to the major decision, with every choice or decision you make in life, on the other side of it is a sacrifice of something. On the other side of the sacrifice of something. Whenever you say, what else was I supposed to do? I ain't have no other choice. You always have a choice. It's just that the other choice had a sacrifice or a due or an expense that you weren't willing to pay. And when you don't want to lose a certain thing, you don't even consider that an option. So in your mind, you'll say, I ain't have no other choice. What was I supposed to do? There's always a choice, man. And you have to start calling it for what it is in order for you to break that program that makes you think when you run into something subconsciously that you do not want to have to deal with. When you run into something that's going to cost you something that you value that you don't want to have to spend. And sometimes it's your life, man. Sometimes it's your life. Allah said in the Holy Quran that tumult and oppression is worse than death. Tumult. T-U-M-U-L-T. Look that up. That's mental anguish, man. When you're irritated. Allah says it's worse than death. That you let somebody have you to the point where you all stressed out and can't think straight and can't live in peace. Tumult. Mental anguish. The opposite of peace is worse than death.